Hello, one and all, and welcome to the second race of round two of the LRNC for Group C D. Of course, second round. 10 teams have fallen, 10 still remain, and you'll see 5 of them go at it here today. We are here under lights at Marina Bay with a here for the Singapore Grand Prix. I don't know what I'm saying there, but we have a grid of 18 drivers to dictate it, and these 5 nations will go at it, and we'll see which 2 or potentially 3 will advance to the final next week. I'm joined by the man that's made all this possible there, Mr. QVR Game Boys. So yeah, hopefully you're looking forward to this, man. How you doing? Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, huge thank you to Mark for making this possible. Yeah. Yeah. So here we are then for Singapore, and this is going to be a good one to watch because I think many of the real life drivers and people in the game describe it as possibly the most challenging Grand Prix. Of course, maybe you could argue Monaco's a more challenging track, but as an actual race in itself, long, grueling. It's very difficult to get complete the 31 laps here at Marina Bay. So these drivers will be tested to their absolute limits. And yeah, that's going to be key. And the drivers that are able to shine through, the teams that are able to shine through, they'll be racking up the points then. And with it's so close from second down to fifth in this group that really it's all to play for. And yeah, even though England won, seems to be rather convincingly going through at this point there. As for the other 4 teams, they've all got a lot to fight for here. So we're just gonna watch here. Going round to the start of the lap there is it Kriko, Kriko, I'm not sure how you pronounce that exactly, but he's representing Norway, I believe. So here we go then, going it through it, turns 1 and 2, then keeps it nice and steady, runs a little bit wide through the apex of 3 and actually invalidates that, so he's going to have to back off that one, unfortunately, there. So we're going to watch a car behind him, Joe Brazy, who's on the soft tyres there, navigating turn 4. Of course, it's a very difficult technical track here, and a lot of different strategies that can be run as well. So that can really throw things wide open here. And yeah, the range of strategies we want to watch for the race then. So Joe Brazy then sweeps it round turn 8 then, keeps it nice and steady then. So that's into turn 9 and now into turn 10 there. The corner formerly known as the Singapore Sling then through 11 and 12, nearly flat out in 4th gear there. The rear end tries to step away from you into the hairpin of 13, runs it close to the wall there without quite touching it. That's the line you want to be taking there. Short sprint down into turn 14, 2nd gear, grabs it there, hits that apex on the inside quite nicely, and now barreling down into the remainder of this track there through turn 17. Of course, a very technical, very tight and twisty part of the circuit, into turn 18 and 19 underneath the bridge. Opens up the throttle, short blast towards turn 20 there over the curb at turn 21. Get close to the wall without quite touching it again, and that's a good line. Now into the high speed 5th gear, final corner there. Joe Brazy is through and he does a 34 right there. That's going to open up the session. We'll see how the rest of the times stack up. Indeed, yeah. Of course, I say it's just so challenging, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of different strategies run throughout the race. Then watching a couple of cars come over the line. That's LA Mark. He goes P3. Of course, we're seeing a mix here. A couple of drivers opting for the soft and others for the hards on their opening runs. Fastest car on those hard tires so far is LRC, and the fastest on the softs is Joe Breezy. So he's going to be chasing pole position as well as teammate Flip Flop Fish. So we'll see how they stack up there. But seemingly it looks like, well, the Americans in particular, a couple of them seem to be going for the softs, and I'm seeing quite a few of the Dutchmen opting for the hard. So you see different teams as well with different mentalities, running different strategies, and that's just the intriguing thing about racing here at Singapore, is that you never know until the checkered flag drops how they're all going to unfold and how the order is going to end up at the end of the 31 laps of racing. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, and yeah, I'm not quite, wasn't quite expecting that myself. But of course, it's a very difficult track to overtake Singapore. So obviously, these guys looking to maybe try and gain from track position and maybe compromising their long-term race strategy. So they may not be running the theoretically fastest strategy, but if the race unfolds the way they want it, then it can swing it in their favour there. So it's very understandable why they've went for that strategy. I'm watching, well, let's be honest, one of the fastest drivers on the entire platform, Lewis Welshton, on the hard tyres. We'll see how he's able to stand through there as he goes through into turn 20 there again over that curb at turn 21 there, getting up towards the wall. And now for the final two corners there, all over the curb at 22, glides it to the lane. It's a 35.7. That's almost as quick as Flip Flop Fish and considerably faster than LE Mark. And well, a full second faster than anyone else in those hearts. That's once again, it seems like a cliche. A brilliant lap from Lewis, and that's already putting England up in a great place there. He's right up there with the top times, and he's on the hard tyres there. More to come from him, I suspect.
Yeah, and what's nice about that is as well, is for the start, you will be in between of the soft runners, of course. So, with the souls totally dying out after a few laps, it can be a huge fight, not just on the line, like off the line, at the start, but also a few laps in. You can't overtake them straight away.
Yeah, that's very keen because of course the soft tyres don't last very long at this track. It's only really a couple of laps where they'll be on pace with the other tyres, and at that point there they'll begin to suffer. We see it so long, but so many times in league races now, it's possible for drivers to put on the softs and go to the hards and make the checkered flag, but it's very difficult to do. It's into the wall. I saw that. That's a Kiriko for Norway, and that's going to be a blow to them. He's in the wall at turn 8, and that's going to hold them back greatly. He's stranded in the wall. I was on board with him, just ran way too late on the brakes, couldn't get the whole stop down, and yeah, out of the session. He will start presumably from the very back of the grid. That's not great to see for him then. A huge blow to Norway. Yeah, I'm just looking for drivers on laps then. I'm watching Oysen at the moment in that Toro Rosso representing Ireland. He goes underneath the bridge at now out of turn 8 into turn 19. Clips it nicely on the inside. Exit turn 21, runs very wide on the exit. These guys are striving to take apex speed through these corners, get as good a run as they can, and that's a decent lap from Oysen. That puts himself up amongst some of the top names on those hards, and it is really just Lewis that's kind of in the stratosphere as far as those tyres are concerned. They're 35.7, and if later on in the session he goes to mediums, which I expect he will, who knows what kind of times he sets there. So the drivers that are opting for softs, well, they've got their work cut out to try and topple Lewis and get ahead of him on the grid, because if they're not ahead of him on the grid, that's essentially going to ruin their chances in this race there. So yeah, Lewis is probably being a bit of a nuisance for those soft runners, and so yeah, that contingent of guys on the softs, they've got their work cut out.
soft, even ski rink, they want to be in front of those guys, of course, who are on the hards. And to go in, do want to do that as well, of course, in the meantime.
Indeed, they will. So we'll see how that all unfolds there. As Joe Brazy has gone a little bit quicker at the top there. He holds a full second advantage at the moment. He's certainly in the hunt to try and take pole position from the clutches of the other 17 drivers in this lobby. Let's see who is on a good flying lap at the moment there. XL Gary is going through the final sector there into turn 18 underneath that grandstand there. Kicks a nice tight line through turn 19. Watch it, you got to really use the curbs around here. Maximise the width of this racetrack here at Marina Bay now into the final corner in 5th gear, then floors it to the line, and that's a decent lap from Gary. Puts himself at 35.9, but he's still slower than Lewis. Like, this is what I mean, Lewis's pace. And he's actually gone out on softs, which I found interesting. So he might actually be searching for a potential run at pole position if he decides to follow through on that lap. So we may see Lewis Welsh actually on the fastest compound of tyres, which is a surprise because of what we saw earlier there. As Alpamatic has actually just gone second as well. Yeah, he's put himself in a pretty strong position at the moment. They're second at the moment, but I suspect there will be more laps to come from the soft runners there in the final 6 minutes. We're approaching the business end of proceedings here in qualifying. So let's have a look and see how it all unfolds then. Bit of a quiet point though, not many cars on laps I don't think. I think it might actually just be Bugatti that I saw that was on one, so we'll keep an eye out on the Ferrari driver representing England for this round. England, of course, have had the storming round last time out at France, so they have the prime position there to move through into the finals. And to be honest, they're moving into the finals as pretty clear favourites. They've really not been troubled at any point during this competition. If they look to be the strongest team, can they keep that momentum up? They want to make a statement here at Singapore. So now watching Bugatti once again power down into the tight twisty section there through turn 16 and then a turn 17 over the curb, gets very close to the wall then. Again, Singapore is all about confidence. You need to take as much speed through the corners and use as much of the street circuit track as you possibly can, and runs a little bit wide through turn 21. Of course, more corners on this track than any other on the calendar there. Bugatti is to the line, and he goes at P11 there, just shy of the mark from McCruise. I'm seeing quite a lot of cars exiting the pits and on out laps, and they're on those medium tyres, so this is going to be the climax of the session then. Cars now on the mediums, and that is going to be it then. They're all going to look to try and set that time. So you mentioned medium to hard being the optimum strategy, and it seems like the majority of the field are going to try and live up to that and run for the mediums for the last part of this quali session.
As it stands, at least we have an active driver, someone starting, has two or three on the mediums, two on the second, and also in the first. So it's actually following us pretty good far.
Yeah, yep. Go on. Yeah, I was going to say that the dynamic here that's really going to be intriguing is how all the different teams manage this there, and if they all coordinate their strategies, try and get the best possible results there. Lewis Welsh has just started a flying lap on the medium tyres, then expect the best out of it then, as we've got a Norwegian driver, Jay Bogan, has just jumped into the lobby. and will be able to take control of his car for the start of the race then. But Norway, of course, they've already lost a car from this session. It's not gone well for them so far. They're currently sitting last in the group, still within sight of second place, but this is not going to do them much good. They're into Memorial Corner. Comes at Lewis Welsh, who runs just a little bit wide of maybe where he wanted, but he's going to get on the brakes into turn 9. Grabs the apex nicely as Bjorn for the Netherlands. I saw he's popped himself into 4th place then on a 35.7 then, just in front of Dantan. So we're seeing the medium times beginning to flood in now. Lewis Welsh is in to turn 11 there, and you can see just a slight lift through turn 12 onto the brakes into the hairpin at turn 13. Grabs traction on the exit there, taking such a linear run next to the barrier there, drifts it back to the left hand side of the track then for the braking zone at turn 14. Gets on the power nicely. He's purple through sector 2. It's looking like a big lap from Lewis Welsh. Turn 16 wide line into turn 17 is a little bit wide of the curb. He has to bring it back in, bit close to the wall. Into turn 18, keeps it nice and clean. I wouldn't say it's been a brilliant lap by his standards, but I think it should still be enough to get himself up near the top there. But Lordy, that may give him dirty air to this final corner. Lordy has to swiftly jump out the way. Lewis to the line and hits pole a 34.1. And I said that the lap wasn't even that good by his standards, but it doesn't even matter. It's pole position for the moment. And, well, even if you're on softs, that is some mark to beat. 34.1, that's going to take some beating. Yeah. No, every single one of the drivers in this lobby is far, far better than the than the average player on this game, and you are seeing Lewis Welsh make some of them look silly. But we'll see if that time, a 34.1, is able to be toppled there. There's still loads of very, very fast drivers to set laps through the remainder of this session. So let's have a look to see one of them, trying to locate him there. I've just come across Mr. XL Gary going into the last sector there. He's going round the kink at 15 into the braking zone of turn 16 then in that Renault there. Currently sitting on the 35.9 on those medium tyres. They're aged a little bit, so may not be having the grip they would have wanted, but he's still going to give it at all. The Irishman trying to get as far up the grid as he can then. Wade through turn 20, compromises line at 21, bit of oversteer on the exit, then shifts down 5th gear, runs a little bit wide through the final corner there. He is to the line and it's 6th place there, just behind McCrew. And now the times beginning to clock in. Joe Brazy was in the pit lane, so he will not improve on that time. Flip Flop Fish is on the softs. He's looking to get as much as he can out of him there. In that racing point, flicks it in to the final corner onto the throttle now. Does he get pole? No, it's only a 34.9. So still, no one troubling that mark set by Lewis Welsh at the top then. And over the line, that was Seb. He goes P3. It's a good lap, and that's actually on the medium tyres. So he's put himself in a very strong position for the race. A 34.7 is a very strong lap. Do not get me wrong in the slightest. So, going round the final corner now is Oysen. Drives it round. Derates on the run to the line, but he goes 6th out of 35.2 then, just shy of Alkmatuk, who's not going to improve on his time there. Bjorn is now the next car to come around the final corner. He goes 7th. Behind him there is XL Dan representing the Netherlands. Goes to the line, and it's P10, I think. Just looking there, as Blizzard, it wasn't even my radar, but he gets P2, and that's huge for England there. They have 1-2 on the optimal tyres. The last of their drivers, Bugatti, seems to be the only driver that is still on a flying lap. So let's see how the Ferrari is able to do. Runs a little bit wide through turn 21 and now into turn 22. Takes the inside curve nicely there. Round to the line, it's P8. So he also puts himself in the mix. And yet again, England have impressed in this session, but Lewis is pole position with Blizzard alongside him there. And yeah, well, I think the strategy for the Americans going on the softs at the moment, it doesn't seem like it's worked out.
They need to be upfront there and not be inward on their first laps and just get out there, but they will be now with
Yeah, of course they have that advantage of getting more grip off the line. But it's going to be so hard for Joe Brazy to jump Blizzard and Lewis, except right off the line, because it's such a difficult track to overtake. And once those soft tires, once they lose their grip advantage, then it's not looking too positive for those guys. So yeah, ultimately not great for them. England, of course, had a very strong session, and we'll run through the results now. So it is Lewis Welsh who gets pole position from Blizzard. Great laps from both of them. Joe Breezy is P3. Sem, the only guy to really trouble the Englanders on the mediums, he gets fourth on a 34.7 there. Flip Flop Fish, maybe going to have his work cut out in the race. He starts fifth ahead of his teammate Alpamatic there. Royson, the leading Irishman, in seventh there, just ahead of Bugatti there. Dutchman round out the top 10 with Bjorn and McCrew. Gary and Dan just outside that there with Dantan. Way Mark is 15th there. Skivan 16th. Lordy, the last of the cars to set time, and Kuriko we saw was not able to get a lap on the board.
Yeah, it seems like it's not a great quality for Ireland as well. Like, Stephen crashed out on his final hot lap on mediums, I think he was. And yeah, also Marcus at the back. And Ireland really needs those points because they are like second or third, I think, in this group.
I think they're set.
Norway is not going very well right
Yeah.
now. So those two countries really need the points if they want to get into that final.
Yeah, I know Ireland, I believe, is second, but only just by a point or two. So, as I mentioned, all those teams from second through fifth are incredibly close. So it is really all to play for, and this race is where everything is sorted out. Because we know England is relatively safe at this point. If they just get a decent enough haul of points, they'll be comfortably through. In fact, I think because on the provisional results from Group AB that I'm seeing now, I think they might be outscoring every group that's had two races besides maybe Lithuania in that Group AB. So they had such a dominant display in that first race that they're already pretty much dead set. They can just go out there and enjoy themselves in this race. But all the other teams there, all the other 16 drivers, they have got to really fly there. And yet, this is going to be the next hour or so is where all of their hopes and dreams will be decided. Singapore Grand Prix, and yeah, the final qualifiers from this group, we'll see them decided in the next 31 laps.
Yeah, probably it's going to be hard for this group to get the that third. But it's still possible, because from what we're seeing, the provisional results, you need to have at least around 75, 76 points to get through. And if you're on 20 points now, that's going to be a tough job, but it is possible if you're with four guys.
It's just my opinion. I think it's unlikely that the best third comes from this group. Like, I'm just saying that. So I think it looks as though that second place is going to be almost a requirement for these guys, and that's what all those teams are chasing. Of course, USA on paper have the best qualifying results, and to be fair, they have Alpamatic that's very high up there on the medium tires. So he's in a good position, and if they got two guys in the top five for the US, if they're able to make those softs work, keep the temps down, keep the tires afloat, and maybe pull a one stop out of it, then it could be possible. It might be a possibility that they can go through, because they do have three cars in the top six, which is very strong. But
yeah, they're literally going for that second spot, because the third it is really a hard job, because then you really need like 55 points, and then still have another round to do that.
yeah. Yeah, staying out, of course, getting the way, as I've mentioned several times, it's a difficult track to overtake. And of course, you can, if you're able to hold them back, keep them within sight in the first half of the race, the second half of the race is looking much brighter for you, as you'll have those faster medium tyres to end it. We'll see if it goes to plan. First laps can be messy, especially. Indeed it would. Lewis Welsh is on pole position with his teammate Blizzard alongside him. We'll see how they coordinate that start then. 31 laps of Marina Bay in front of us there as all 19 cars on the grid. 4, 5 lights. We're away for the deciding race of the semi-finals here in Group CD. Lewis gets away pretty decently from the line there. Blizzard trying to slot it behind him there. Sam is alongside Joe Breezy. They run wheel to wheel. Turn 1 and turn 2 then. It looks like Sam's going to get ahead. The Joe Breezy is going to get ahead, and Flip Flop Fish trying to follow through there. He's wheel to wheel with his teammate there as Sam has actually made his way back up there. So a good start from the Dutchman as the US men slide back there. Alpha wasn't a great start as well, so he's dropped back for America, and he loses out to Oyson who moves forward there. Bugatti made a great start. He's looking the outside of Flip Flop Fish, behind him there. Alpha on the inside of Oyson, who's able to defend that 7th place for the moment there as McCrew and Bjorn, they sit at the edges of the top 10 for the Netherlands. This is an incident down there at turn 8. I think that's Lordy who went backwards, as well as Jay Bogan there, who's got in after immensely qualifying. Marcus slipped back as well, so there may be damage down there after an incident, but certainly up at the front, no real dramas. Lewis leads from Blizzard, and a great start from Sam as well to get P3. So Netherlands have 3 cars in the top 10. They're hunting for that 2nd spot. Yeah, maybe of course these guys don't want to have to compromise their strategy, so if they have the option of staying out, they certainly will. Already then, the Americans are coming under a bit of pressure there. Joe Breezy in 4th place is struggling to keep up with Sam just in front of him there as Bugatti, again, as I mentioned, made that great start, now trying to close down on Flip Flop Fish just in front of them there. They come over the line for the first time there. McCrew was very wide around that final corner there as he sits up behind Alpamatic there, as Gary has a little look to the inside, the lowest of the medium runners. He's got work to do if he wants to move forward in this Grand Prix. But at the moment it does look as though, as you mentioned, it does seem like all the hard runners are staying out, so they don't want to compromise their strategy, so there must not have been much damage, and that's going to help them along for certain there as Bugatti is closing down Flip Flop Fish towards Memorial Corner there, and the Racing Point has to cover the inside line. Bugatti lay on the brakes, trying to go around the inside, gets squeezed to the outside, but I think he may have that 5th place. He has the inside for turn 8, squeezing towards the wall, and they make contact, both of them in the wall there. The Ferrari and Racing Point come together, come to blows, and that's gonna, and they come together again at turn 9. Round goes Bugatti, he's tagged by Way, and that's gonna set Norway back as well, so disaster for Bugatti for
Done so well in the American, of course.
Yeah, I think, well, Flip Flop Fish was squeezed towards the wall then and came together. He lost a lot of places in that. He's runs now isolated in 11th place, and he may be coming in if the tyres and the wing has taken a bit of a beating, but it looks like he is going to stay out then. But Bugatti's been relegated to the very back of the field, and he's going to have to recover there further down the field. Up the inside of turn 1 goes Gary, and now trying to keep that alongside there. Better contact with Bjorn, and has to yield that place before he got a bit messy there. So he gives up that 8th place. He's going to try and fight back at him later on in the one down towards turn 7 at the Memorial Corner there. Gets a better exit. Bjorn does not have DRS of his teammate McCrew in front there, so Gary's going to try and close him down there. Bjorn covers to the inside line. Gary gets well alongside there, tries to get him on the brakes, but Bjorn is able to keep it there, squeezing him a little bit wide. Over the curb goes Gary, and he can't quite keep it alongside there as Dan is wheel to wheel with Flip Flop Fish. Looks to get it ahead in a turn 8, has the high ground and the possession up into 11th. Flip Flop Fish trying to fight back towards turn 9. Looks round the outside. Can he complete that? That's sensational for Flip Flop Fish if he can pull it off. Dan has still got the inside line into turn 10, but early on the brakes, and Flip Flop Fish, that is some comeback there. I know he's had a tough time at the start of this race, but that is superb. Brownie outside. As Kuriko's gone off, he's dropping places and has to go right down to the back of the field. But I'm just stunned that Flip Flop Pressure was able to pull that off. Brownie outside of turn 9, and he's putting XL down to 12th place there. He's going to have to try again to get past the American. Further down the field, it was Bugatti who got past Lordy, who made a bit of an error, I think, going through turn 16 and 17, and he has dropped back down just a little bit up at the front. Lewis Welsh is controlling from the front with Blizzard backing him up further down the field. Dan is going to cruise past his Flip Flop Fish going into the pits, so he's going to come in early at the end of lap 3 then, thinking that those tyres are already past the point after being in the wars in the opening 3 laps, and that's going to send him back just a little bit there. Still a close battle going on for 8th place there between Bjorn and Gary. Gary has a good slipstream with him there. Looking again towards Memorial Corner. Took to the outside. Dummies to the inside and late braking for the Irishman. Gets alongside him, but no! Bjorn covers it off there. It's creative. He had the right intentions. Bjorn though saw it coming, covered it off, and keeps that 8th place for now. Stern defence from the Dutchman, and he maintains that, but Gary now really holding in on there as Skivan is down the inside and now rounding outside of turn 8 on TNR way, and he is up to 13th place there, also progressing through the field. And as Bugatti has a look to the inside of Eloise Mark through the next corner at turn 9, but doesn't quite get it done, and he has to sit behind in that 16th place. But Gary, I think, will be trying to put pressure on Bjorn then. Not quite into turn 14, I don't think, unless it's a late dive, and there is a late dive! Late on the brakes from Gary, and as he got it this time there, when he least expected it, Bjorn did not see that one coming, and Gary finally has that 8th place, and after starting outside the top 10, he's made a decent start to this race, and now he's got a bit of clean air, he can move forward and try and push up to the group ahead. Oh! He had a look. Oh. Unless he's going to be really bold with those tyres and try and take them to the end of the race, but I'm not sure how likely that is. Joe Brazy was in there, and he puts on the medium, so it does look like he is committed, most certainly, to a 2-stop strategy. Bugatti now, another go. They're trying to get past Mark then. This is for points as well, so he's got everything matters. And down the inside of turn 1. That's a good move from Bugatti there. He's making solid progress, and now he's on the back of TNR way. Gets much better traction off of turn 3. Now to the outside of turn 5. Doesn't quite get it. Looks for the switchback. He's got more grip with those mediums there. Way has damage as well, so I think this is a done deal. They're going to go parallel there. Way's got some good straight line speed, and that Haas there keeps it wheel to wheel to the Memorial Corner, but lay on the brakes Bugatti. Looks like he's going to complete that manoeuvre and cover it off into turn 8. He is ahead at last into 13th place on his recovery drive. He's dispatched these guys quite nicely as Lordy looks to the outside of Eloise Mark at turn 9. Isn't quite able to get through on the Irishman, but he is searching for a potential manoeuvre there, as Alphamotic as well is coming under a bit of pressure from McCrew. As yeah, these top 3, they all seem to be very similar on race pace at the moment there. Lewis about a second ahead of Blizzard, about a second ahead of LRNC. Those guys just running in formation at the moment, and we'll see if it stays that way, because at the moment, although Lewis Welsh showed blistering pace in qualifying, so far in the race he's not having it all his own way. Although of course we do know Blizzard is not going to be too threatening for him there as his teammate. He's going to try and back him up. McCrew chasing down Alphamotic as well. Then they run at 5th and 6th, and he'll look to dispossess him of that 5th place. Further down again, Mark on way, who we saw pick up that damage, and he's into the pits, and we'll see what tyres he elects for. But yeah, he's going to come in. And I do want to go clarify a statement I made that Kurika can go to the end of the race. No, he can't because of the 2-tyre rule. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, everyone. But anyway. Yeah, indeed you do then. Gary has also caught this group behind Appomattox, who may have damage or he's just struggling. May have very slight damage because it's not showing up on the cameras, but at the moment he is a little bit off the pace of most of the guys around him, it does seem. Oyson has lost contact with the top three, but they're all running a blistering pace out front. It has to be said there, Lewis, Blizzard and Sam, they're all going quite briskly up at the front, and Sam running with these guys. Probably hope they can get past Blizzard or those penalties for these guys, because yeah, he's eager to get as many points as he can for the Netherlands, making up for that 10-point penalty they picked up from the last round. And of course, if he's able to bring home the bacon for them, it may be enough to get them that second place. There's a long way to go just yet, but this is a start, and hanging on to that DRS of CRG Blizzard is definitely helping his cause now. Let's look at this battle for 5th place behind Matt Alpamotic there. The DRS is open for LR McCrew, but he's got to be careful with Gary behind him there, who seems to have good straight line speed, but McCrew trying to close down. Alpamotic defends the inside line. Much later on the brakes, McCrew, he may still be alongside him in a turn 7, and now in a turn 8, has the line, gets brakes later again, has the line, and can he complete it? There he's got his nose ahead. Can he keep it? Going into turn 9, yes. McCrew is at the 5th. And Gary opportunistic to the outside of Alphamother. They're going to go wheel to wheel towards turn 10. And it's Gary around the outside and out of turn 11. What a move from Gary. Following through, taking advantage of the space that opened up there. And he is up to 6th then. Yet another sensational manoeuvre in this race. Gary is on a charge. And now McCrew next up the road there. I'm stunned there. Gary round the outside of turn 10 completes an Alpamotic, losing 2 places in just a matter of corners. So now looking to try and complete that, try and get away as further down the field. Sam going past Blizzard, because Blizzard is coming in early there. Lap 8, which does seem to be quite early in my opinion, but he's going to be the first all the medium runners to come into the pits, and it's a change to the hard tyres, so he's looking to go to the end of the race. Maybe actually he might be a consequence that he'll gain track position on Lewis, but I think what he's mainly trying to do is cover off Sam so he can maybe get out of his DRS, stay out of threat, and not get undercut by the Dutchman. So he's protecting his second place, but it may mean the Englishmen are quite close on the pit exit if Lewis pits this lap. So an interesting dynamic throw up there. How are England going to manage this one? This is an incredibly close battle on track that I'm watching there as Joe Brazy has a look. He is looking to the inside of turn 6. It'll turn to the outside of turn 7 there versus Eloise Mark. He may have him before they even turn the wheel for the corner. And that is going to be the case then, as there's yellows in sector 2. There's a Williams off then. That is Kirk. He's in a nightmare race for Norway. And he is going to drop back. He's a lap down. Nothing's going right for him so far. And it looks as though he'll have a very lowly race there, not scoring any points as it stands. There's a penalty for Ski Van. I believe there's been penalties for several drivers there. Alphamotic I saw pick up one as well then, and someone else that I can't quite recall also has a penalty. So still,
Yeah, I'm sure many guys are of course on more ends right now, so we'll see some more ends in the next week.
top two do stay out at the moment then. So Blizzard has got that space to kind of just move into, but he's got to be careful that he doesn't quite catch up. He's obviously just going to give it his all and try and close him down, but of course that could have the consequence of him being held up in their dirty air at, again, a track where overtaking is scarce. Looking a little bit far ahead there, Jay Bogan is trying to hold off Ski Van on the back from there, and likewise with McCrew trying to hold off Gary there. They run 4th and 5th on the track at the moment. Gary. Whoa! I'm sorry to cut you off, but McCrew with a late defensive move there at turn 6. Gary, furious, runs wide, trying to go around the outside of 7. Gains that inside line, breaks late, but not late enough. McCrew holds it, and that could have got very nasty there. As I just heard in the chat then from Mr. QleenVigor Racing, he's saying that he can't hear you, so I'm not. Maybe just have a. Well, I've been able to hear you just fine, so I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, of course, Game Boys has had quite a few issues throughout the championship with his audio. So yeah, please keep us posted on that. So the stream remains as professional as physically possible, of course. So anyway, keeping an eye on Blizzard, he is rapidly closing in on this pack of cars ahead of him, and they're gonna start holding him up sometime soon. But Sam is into the pits. Now this is pretty important, and I do want to check actually. Can you go to the party, and because I'm not sure if it's maintained this thing, but if you just make sure is your voice on always being shared, because that might be Anyway, we've got Seb emerging from the pit lane there, and Blizzard is actually going to be very close on exit there. Sam, though, he's not quite going to get the Ferrari with the overcut, but he is close, and they're all behind this train now of hard runners, and that's going to be led by XL Dan there. Now inherits fourth on the road. Lewis Welsh still staying out, and he'll be gaining time on these guys at the moment. He's going to be benefiting from all of this. Skivan, you mentioned he's on the recovery. Blizzard trying to close him down. Breaks much later into Memorial Corner, but was unable to quite complete that manoeuvre. Jay Bogan as well as hassling XL Dan. Then they run fourth and fifth, and he's going to try and get the possession of the Dutchman. They're trying to give Norway as many points as they can. They didn't have a great start to proceedings last time out, so he's got to do everything in his power to move through. Skivan is very close to Jay Bogan, and now Blizzard's getting stacked up and Sam getting ever closer. As a late launch from Skivan, he's on the inside of Jay Bogan. They almost come together, and they do very slightly then, but Skivan is unable to quite get through, and Blizzard as well is looking behind the Irishman, dives it down the inside late. Can he get it done? He squeezes it towards the wall, and Sam taking advantage, follows through. Skivan losing 2 places on the run out of one corner. So opportunistic from Sam and Blizzard. A great move down the inside late on the brakes there. Feisty stuff. And Skivan, well, he was looking like he might gain a position. Now he's lost 2 just a little while later, and he's got to try and recover. Dan still leads Jay Bogan, and Lewis still staying out there. There is Bjorn Pitts there. Where does he emerge? Because I think he'll be behind the hard runners. But where will he come out then? As he was running a couple of seconds behind Gary and McCrew, as McCrew's actually lost out a lot in the pits there, so he might be ahead of his teammate when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Louis probably just keeping it on track, because of course he may be in the party with Blizzard, and he may be just telling to Louis that he needs to stay out, that he's getting hold up. Because he's still in front, like, there's still 2 guys in front of him, of course, who are just holding him up. He still needs to overtake Jay Bogan, which he's probably going to do now. But yeah, Skivan has really fallen back now.
Blizzard with another late launch on Jay Bogan, and this time Sam is not close enough to follow through in the turn 8, so he has to sit behind him. Now there's a car between Blizzard and Sam, so it's looking good for those 2 Englishmen inside. Lewis will be gaining time all the time. Alpamatic is down inside of Lordy then, who's the last of the hard starters. He is lost out there, and Alpamatic does have a penalty, and I think he has 6 seconds now actually, but he is now through up into 11th place and trying to make as much progress as he can on this track at this moment in time. And oh, there's a contact down there.
Great launch from Jay Bogan.
Jay Bogan, as he pushed Blizzard into the wall, there was definitely damage there, as Sam and Blizzard are wheel to wheel in a turn 14. Blizzard breaks later, he may just get it there, as Sam's are up wide, and Skivan now trying to fight back there. He is wheel to wheel with the Dutchman there, going through into turn 16, gets on the inside and makes contact with Blizzard, and round goes Sam now. Absolute chaos down there. Sam drops back several seconds, and absolute pandemonium at turn 16 then. As I'm not exactly
this of course all helps England now, because they can just drive away from the Netherlands. But still Jay Bogan is in front of Blizzard, and I don't know if it was really fair what he did there, because it looked like he just outbroke himself. And outbraked, I have to say, of course. But yeah, he just pushed away the Ferrari, of course. So we may get something for the stewards there to do.
Yeah, I just caught the end of it, but if Jay Bogan's tried to go for a move like that on a car with fresher tyres that's just overtaken him, I'm not exactly sure if that's exactly great. Skivan as well as closing down the feisty Jay Bogan in 5th and 6th there. Of course, Jay Bogan does have damage now. And Skivan, another late lunge. This time down the inside of turn 8. Force him towards the wall and end the wall slightly, I think, went Jay Bogan. These guys are almost playing bumper cars down there. Absolute mayhem. And that's a move from Skivan with another knock on the wall for Jay Bogan. And now he's got Joe Breezy on fresh medium, up behind him. And he's going to be looking to try and get that 6th place. But yeah, it seems like Jay Bogan's in the wars with absolutely everyone, and several drivers have come off worse from this then. Yeah, the events of the last few laps have been quite dramatic, and Jay Bogan being in the wars, and ultimately this is costing him time as he was right on the back of XL Dan, and now he's several seconds behind. And yeah, so all this suffering, all this fighting, it's setting him back, and that's going to really hurt him in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and all this fighting, of course, also allowed Louis to just pit and get in front of all the guys, because he's now several seconds away from Blizzard, and also Sam, of course, is just gone now, so he just has to drive it out and wins it probably, if he doesn't get any penalties.
And Jay Bogan does come into the pits as he has damage penalty for Lewis Welsh, but he does have a good buffer at the top of the field for the time being. Blizzard is now searching for a potential move on XL Dan. They're going to go towards turn 5, and I think the Dutchman may be at the mercy of DRS, Slipstream, and probably high ERS mode as well. So Blizzard now opens that DRS. He's in overtake mode, closing him down, but Dan's got good straight line speed by the looks of things there, but he's not covering the inside line, and Blizzard is to the inside. Dan still keeps it side by side on the brakes, but eventually Blizzard is able to get through as Sam going round the outside of Joe Breezy. Joe Breezy trying to confirm it. He's to the outside now of turn 8, very close to the wall. He's still there though at the turn 9, sticks it side by side with the McLaren, can't quite follow through though, as further back Gary is trying to fend off, or sorry, that's Alpamatic having a look at Louis Mark. He's unable to get through, so chaos once again.
And also Ultimate K now has damage, because I saw some sidewing getting off in that fight, so that's really unfortunate for him, because he of course just pitted to the hearts.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge setback for the American, and Gary on progress. He's driven a very good race so far, Gary. Now he's got another car to try and cross off his list, and this is good for Ireland because they have Oysen, that I think is running, I believe is running in a net P4 at this stage, and not far behind Sem. So yeah, Oysen and Gary may still rack up a lot of points from Ireland, and you never know. Well, Netherlands seem to be running very strongly. Ireland are not exactly out of it either in that battle for that all-important 2nd place, so keep your eye out. So because Ireland, they could have 2 drivers in the top 5 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it seems to be really exciting who's gonna get that 2nd spot from this race, because Ireland is still in it, Netherlands is still in, probably even America is also still in the fight. It really gets to the points, and probably even stewarding afterwards who will get through.
Skivan is down the inside of XL Dan into Memorial Corner there, but Dan breaks late, keeps it alongside. Skivan forces him off the road then. I don't think Dan will be too happy with that, but Skivan does run 4th, and another spot gain for Ireland there. Yellows, and that's Mark out, so that's a blow for Ireland there. He's going out there at turn 6. I'm not sure how he's managed to go off there, as Sem now has been let through, I think, by Dan, who's gone very slowly there, because Joe Breezy's down the inside of turn 10, and Dan's out wide. So another place lost for the Dutchman there, and they're losing points at the moment. Of course, Dan is out on those hard tyres that he started on, so it's unsurprising that he's losing out, but he's given up track position to Skivan. As now Gary reining in on... I can't even look around there, there's so much going on there. Seb is past Skivan now, he runs 4th, and putting cars between himself and Oysen there critically. As further down the field, we have another incident, that's Lordy's off at turn 13. What is going on? There's just cars off left, right and centre. Lordy is off the track, and I know England are pretty much through, so it won't matter too much then, but I can't keep up with everything that's going on then. Absolutely crazy stuff all the way through this race there on lap 15, and yeah, hard to keep up with everything there. It's just absolute chaos out there.
Absolute chaos indeed, but I think Mark really went off there in the battle, so it was on the straight, it's not really a place where you expect somebody to crash, and he was really parked on the middle, really, like he banged off a wall with a strange touch or something, so it's really weird.
Alpamatic getting a bit defensive in a turn one there as Gary beginning to trouble him then. He's got a lot of ERS as Gary there to try and deploy potentially on this straight in the run down towards Memorial Corner. Turn 7 there. The DRS is going to be open now for XL Gary, but he may have too much of a deficit to make up there. He's got DRS and the slipstream there. Alpo defends to the inside line and he's going to maintain that 9th place, I think. Gary looks to the inside towards turn 8, but no commitment on the race. He doesn't want to take too much of a risk in trying to defend what could be a net 5th place at the moment, but we know Alpamatic has several penalties, so it is going to send him back. But Gary is still looking for that because he's got the 2 Dutchmen that have been chasing him down the entire race. He needs to try and get on with things, but Alpo still holding that position there, and this seems to be another very close battle on track. There's several actually there. Oysen reining in on XL Dan. The next car to try and challenge him as they run 7th and 8th, and Blizzard as well on Dantan gets very close on the brakes through turn 18. They've got to be careful that he doesn't come together. But yeah, Lewis in this stint has taken off down the road another fastest lap. He's looking imperious, and yeah, by the looks of things, he's looking on for another very convincing win for England.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Blizzard is also getting hold up, of course, behind the Norwegian, which he's passing right now. But that doesn't help Blizzard to catch with his teammate, of course. Sam is behind him with a few seconds to go, but also Steven is catching up to him. But he still has to pit probably.
Oysen and Dan then, they run 7th and 8th all together on track. Oysen's lost a bit of time then, but he's in pretty clean air. He's just got to try and make the best of it there, and he's chasing a potential 4th place in this Singapore Grand Prix. So now he picks up the slipstream from Dan, who this time is going to cover the inside line. Oysen looks to the inside, Dan's deep into the corner, and the switchback comes through. Oysen up in the 7th there. Dan makes the error and loses out there. Gary chasing down Alpamatic, but he's not close enough this time round into Memorial Corner, but it's Oysen who gains that place on XL Dan, and now he goes 7th and looks like he's heading, once the car's pit, for potentially getting 4th place. But I do think that Dantan is on for a good result as well, because he's by a decent margin. Skivan's not far away, but these guys have made good progress on the hard tyres, still being near the front, and we'll see what they're able to do then if they're able to achieve a good standing once they come through the pit stops, and then on the mediums they'll be on the charge in their closing laps of this race.
Yeah, I think Dantan is really doing a good job, because we have other guys who has to pit still, of course. Joe Breezy still has to, probably Dan still has to, also Lordy, and those guys all have to pit, so he gets in front of those guys, and he is on the mediums, of course.
Yeah, so of course he'll be on that charge at the end of the race then. Alpamatic still absorbing as much pressure as XL Gary can put on him there. There's a mistake from Gary, there's the penalty. But looking further down the road there, Stanton is now going to come under pressure from Seb. He's the next driver to pressure the Norwegian. They run through turn 5, and I think Sam is very easily close enough to the back there. I don't think it'll be much of a fight there. Sam is to the inside of turn 6, and he runs 3rd now. So he makes that position, and he moves through. Now Alpo trying to fend off Gary once again, but Gary's wave through turn 5, and now Alpamatic's able to pick up that throttle on exit there. Weaves to the inside, trying to break that slipstream, but I don't think it's going to matter much. Gary is not close enough to contend, and he still sits behind in 10th place there. Gets a good run towards turn 8, runs a bit wide, but ultimately isn't able to get through. These guys having quite the battle, but of course Singapore is such a difficult track to overtake, and Alpamatic is proving that, able to defend from Gary, and Gary, he needs to keep it clean through the whole lap, and he can't make mistakes, because Alpamatic, he's not giving this one up easily. Gary's still chasing him there, but he's having a tough time getting this move done.
Yeah, and the more these guys are gonna fight, we'll also see the Dutchies behind them, of course, catch up to them. So it can even get a bigger fight.
So now it's Skivan who's going to challenge Dantan there, who's coming under pressure. These guys are on the same strategy actually, so yeah, it's going to be interesting, because Skivan is essentially challenging for a net lead on the hard tyres, and we'll see if he's able to complete it there. He has shown some very good pace throughout this race then, after crashing and qualifying. So now he's got to try and search for that 4th place on track for the time being. We'll see how everything unfolds. As behind them, Joe Breezy has gone into the pit lane. So now Skivan picks up the throttle. Is he going to be close enough this time to Dantan? He needs to get a clean run around turn 5, runs a little bit wide towards the wall, but he does have DRS overtake mode. But Dantan gets a very good run down into turn 6 towards turn 7. Skivan may look for another late launch, but he's not close enough this time. I don't think Gary's going to be close enough either to the back of Alpamatic in that battle over 9th place. Skivan's still searching, looking. He is sitting on that rear wing of the Williams in front, but ultimately at the moment it's not looking like he's going to be able to get through. I'm looking a little bit further down the field for battles there. This is one. Jay Bogan, on Joe Breezy, swoops round the outside of turn 6, now the inside of turn 7. Can he get the Haas? Yes, he is ahead, and he will move through. He's got 5 lap older tyres, so Joe Breezy will probably be eager to try and get that place back. But Jay Bogan taking advantage of the car just coming out the pits, and he's ahead as Skivan as well chases down Dantan and Gary chasing Alpamatic. The Irishman on the offensive, and if they're able to get the moves done that they're searching for, it'll put them in very good shape to maybe possibly get 2nd place overall when everything's all said and done.
In the meantime, it's still Dantan and Skivan really up others back, but also these guys are just showing that keeping yourself out of the problems can really gain you positions, because Dantan seems to be real slower than Skivan, but he's actually driving at the same place, of course, whilst they're both pitting.
So let's have a look and see how that all unfolds. They release Oysen now, who runs in a comfortable 4th place. Dan behind him is also coming in the pits there. He's been running in the shadow of these guys. He's been in the wars himself as Dan, as now Alpamatic is breaking that slipstream from Gary. He's actually going to go defensive towards turn 1, so he is ever worried of the Irishman's presence on his rear wing. They are now promoted into 5th and 6th. They have to stay approach there, as actually Bjorn has caught up with these guys. So Alpamatic has held up Gary sufficiently that it's now throwing it wide open. So Gary needs to get this move done soon as Alpamatic hits the wall at turn 5. That's going to hurt his momentum, and I don't think it's going to be much for fight. Around the outside goes Gary. Can he complete it? Finally, looks for the move into Memorial Corner. Gary is ahead, but the switchback may come through. They're both extremely wide out of the corner. Alpu face back to the outside of turn 8. Can he go round the outside of Gary, who gets oversteer, and he's lost that position to Bjorn. So Gary makes the mistake. I'm not sure if there was contact, but Bjorn's taking advantage of that. And after all the effort for Gary to get the move done, it looked like he might have done it finally, but Bjorn has just been sitting there probing, waiting for the mistake. It finally comes, and he takes advantage. He now runs 6th, and can he get past Alpamatic there? And searching for 5th place for the Netherlands there. That's a huge step forward for them in their hunt for 2nd place.
Yeah, and Dantan and Skivan just pitted, but they really made up a new train now, because it's really a train from Breezy to just Skivan with 4 cars all within a second.
Indeed it is. And of course, being in a DRS train, it's going to be tough to overtake there. Bjorn is actually having a little look at Alpamatic, but I think he's picked up even more damage on that front wing, so he's got a very wounded racing point. Further down the field, Skivan and Dantan are wheel to wheel. Skivan into the wall, makes contact with Dantan into the wall. Completely now stranded is the Norwegian. After that contact, I think Skivan, what happened is that he came off the wall, car reacted and went in to Dantan. Not much either driver could do. It's just Skivan running into the wall and ultimately costing both of them, particularly Dantan. That's barely disappointing for him. He did nothing wrong on fresh tyres, and they both have damage.
It's really unfortunate for the Norwegian, of course, but he still can get into the points. This flip-flop flash is still behind him, but penalties can make it up for him.
Bjorn has a little look. He goes to the inside on Alpamatic there. He's found the inside line there. Gets squeezed to the inside. Makes contact with him. And now's Gary's chance to try and pick up the pieces. He is running outside of Alpamatic through turn 8. Gets his nose ahead, and Gary it is, who may have prevailed. Finally, a car gets through on Alpamatic there. Brave defence from the American. But ultimately, he couldn't quite hold him back there. Try to squeeze Bjorn. And both of them losing out dear. And now it's McCruz ahead of his teammate. And Alpu getting feisty, getting the elbows out, but I think finally it's played into his downfall. And now Gary is free into 5th place. He's got to try and just get a gap out and control it, and he can try and get 5th place on the road there. And Ireland with 2 cars in the top 5, that's going to be a huge boost to their hopes.
Also, let's go over the penalties now real quick to give some more information on that. At the moment it stands as follows. Louis has 1 penalty but also several warnings. Blizzard has a penalty plus 1 warning. Sam has 1 warning only, so he may be able to gain on the penalties. Then there's Oysen with literally only 1 warning. Also, Gary has several warnings and a penalty. Ultimate K has a penalty and 2 warnings. Then
Well,
McCrew is also on warnings and a penalty. Bjorn also has a penalty. Literally everybody seems to have penalties right now. Breezy also has already 2 penalties.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, but it was McCrory trying to force a move on Appomattox, forced him out wide at turn 1 there, and Appomattox rejoined and almost came to blows with his teammate Joe Breezy, who now on fresh mediums is looking to take advantage of all of this fighting and try and get through. So Bjorn and McCrory are going to have to cooperate, work together as a team, try and hold him back there, but Joe Breezy is going to be charging, running in 8th place. But yeah, I'm just going to run over that there. There's some drama down there as Waze came into the pits there, so Skivan gets the final points paid position. As a Kirku is out then, he's gone out, retired in the pit lane, I believe, as has Way. So I think that's essentially ending Norway's hopes, because they don't really have anyone that's running up near the front there. As Joe Breezy is past Bjorn, so he moves up in the 7th place. Drama all round, but I think I'll cut back to you then. Sorry for interrupting you, but if you continue to run through the penalties, that'd be great.
Yeah, no worries then, of course. Norway has one guy still around the 10th place, which is Jay Bowen, of course, and he also has only 1 penalty still. Then Dan has, of course, no penalties, because that's what we used from him. Then Bugatti has 1 penalty. Flip for Face, we know we had already 2 penalties. Then Lordy has 1 penalty. Skeven, I know, has also several. He has 2 penalties plus 3 warnings, so he's really close to another one. And then Dan has 2 warnings only, so that pretty much rounded up.
Joe Breezy is to the inside of McCrew and is comfortably through in a turn 1, and Gary is his next target. Up the road, so he's searching for that. Sam is almost behind Blizzard, and while you're doing that, Blizzard actually picked up yet another time penalty. So you mentioned he had warnings, and that's going to set him back. He is now really at the mercy of losing this 2nd place to LR Sam. And yes, so Sam sitting all over him. He'll be very comfortable in that position that he occupies for the time being. But Joe Breezy's charge.
Sam is definitely safe for the 2nd place right now, because Blizzard I think has 2 penalties, so he should be safe.
So yeah, that's gonna definitely help the cause for the Netherlands, and of course they have 2 other drivers inside the top 10. And Dan as well, just outside there. As Jay Bogan is will to will with Alpamatic there, who tries to hold it round the outside, but ultimately is powerless to defend. He's been sliding down the field considerably in these last few laps with damage, getting set back so quickly. It's just blow after blow suffering. But I would say that if I were to guess, I'd say Netherlands are on for moving through at the moment, because they have Seb, who's looking like 2nd place, and then they have McCrew and Bjorn running nicely inside the top 10 and looking like they may well stay there. Jay Bogan will obviously try and chase them down. Sam, Blizzard does have penalties, but he may look to try and get a move done anyway on the Ferrari as they run almost wheel to wheel, almost nose to tail on this track. There's Sam picking up the slipstream there. It looks like he is going to be threatening there. Blizzard covers the inside line. He needs to. To the outside goes Sam. Much later on the brakes into turn 7. Gets forced off the road by Blizzard and can't quite keep it alongside there. Feisty defensive driver from Blizzard. He's doing everything in his power to try and keep him behind as Joe Breezy is setting on the rear winger. Gary has a look to the outside of turn 5 even on the Irishman. Can he get that one done? Round the outside. You'll have that. That's brilliant from Joe Breezy. He now runs 5th place. Absolutely sensational overtaking once again, and Gary powerless. So Joe Breezy making places. You see the advantage that Fresh Mediums is having, and that's going to be the charge of the guys that are sitting outside the top 10. So everything can change, but one thing, the only constant seems to be the absolute brilliance of Lewis Welsh, who now sits nearly 20 seconds clear up at the front and on for yet another comfortable race win. At times, this guy's almost in another league, as Alpha Motic's able to get past Jay Bogan at turn 9, so I think Jay Bogan went out wide, and Alpha does regain that 9th place. But and actually, I think Jay Bogan has damage because he's lost out to XL Dan as well. Yep, he's suffered absolutely hugely into the wall again, and yep, that's another blow for Norway. So I think they are well and truly going to be heading out of things there. It doesn't look like they're going to be scoring many points at all from this race.
Yeah, it seems to be a real tough race for the Norwegians. We already saw Kiriko and Way, of course, retire, and then with that huge incident with Skeven, and now also Jay Bowman without the wing. I'm yeah, I'm even afraid they may not even score more than 1 point at this point.
I see what you did there. Anyway, Sev is closing down. Oh, Blizzard yet again. He goes to the outside of turn 7 yet again. And can he get it this time? Again, though, Blizzard, this time a bit more cleanly. He's able to hold the place nicely. No real dramas. Further down the road, Alphamotic getting heavily defensive, breaking that toe from Exile Dan towards turn 1. But Dan is not close enough to force a move. We're now 24, well, just over 23 laps into the Singapore Grand Prix. So there's not long to go in this race. Dan now hassling the rear wing of the Racing Point. He's had to put up with cars being behind him for this entire stint. And I think that's one of the quicker ones, because J-Bug is there at the race, but Dan sweeps at the inside and is up at the 9th then, and his charge through the field then late on in this race. And he now promotes himself to 9th, but he's got a long way to catch up to his teammates. But it looks like now, with the Netherlands having 3 drivers inside the top 10 and looking like second place, I have to say that they're certainly the favourites to go through, confirm themselves. And it looks like we may have a second Netherlands team going to the finals here, barring any stewards inquiries, because it does look like they're in a dominant position and looking to progress with just a few laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like England and Netherlands will make it through from this group, of course, and pretty afraid that the third best will come from the other group as well.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Norway's not making it probably, also America's probably not making it, and Ireland certainly doesn't have enough points to make up a gap of 55 points right now.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one there. Yet again, Seb, this time he's going to be far alongside Blizzard there towards turn 7. Almost gets his nose in front of the brakes there and gets squeezed off. Again, there's a bit of lag there. So Seb is unable to get through yet again, but of course this doesn't matter much. But he's still all over the rear wing of the Englishman, trying to find his route through. I'm looking further down the field. That's Alphamotic again, coming under pressure from Bugatti, who breaks lane at turn 1. They almost had a look around the outside, but was unable to get through on the Racing Point. But you know, Joe Breezy is flying the flag for the Americans, but ultimately Alp, who's outside the top, is right on the edge of the top 10, will probably be demoted in just a matter of seconds, because here comes Bugatti then, who pulls the inside of turn 6. He will be on the outside of turn 7, but Alp is behind before they turn the wheel, and yes, Bugatti's in the 10th, so that means now the Americans have had a tough time. They've only got 3 drivers, and 2 of them are outside the top 10. Joe Breezy is bringing home a good amount of points, but it's not going to be enough for them. Norway have had a disaster here, and it looks like they won't even come through with any points, as all of their drivers are out.
Yeah, and it's also surprising that America is the only country which tried the two-stop hard. Literally everybody else is doing the mediums to hards, actually.
Or the reverse. So yeah, that's definitely cost them dear. Joe Breezy's made it work. Actually, no, wait, hold on. I'm getting a bit confused there. I think, yeah. Joe Breezy has made it work quite well. There's a Seb's made a mistake. Seb almost losing it completely. He was just about able to keep it out the wall, and that was a great save. And that's gonna looks like he's still well within range of Blizzard, but that may have knocked his confidence. That was so nearly disastrous, and could have even allowed Ireland back into play. With Gary holding off ever closer at the moment in that battle. So Sem able to keep the car alive, and of course if he'd gone out of it there, it could have really opened the door for Ireland to move through in that battle for second place, because Netherlands are certainly racking up the points right now, but without Sem that would have spelled disaster, I think, for them.
Yeah, without Sem it was really close again, but yeah, Ireland is of course only with 2 guys up front, as Skeven is now driving 14, so probably it's still not enough to make up for that, even if Sam retired.
It would have certainly been closer though, but yeah, Netherlands with all 4 drivers inside that top 10 do look pretty set. They may even be the highest scoring team from this round, actually. In fact, I think they probably are. So it'll be close actually, but anyway, leading further down the field there, this is Skeven and Lordy. They're going side by side. I know it's for 13th place, but it's still for points. Lordy's down the inside and he gets through on Skeven there, so he gets up 13th place. Don't mind if he does. And that's another blow for Team Ireland there. Skeven unable to get through. So at the moment, it's looking like it is going to be England qualifying as your first team, and Netherlands, despite a 10-point penalty. They've done very well to come through in the position they are. They were a Pool 3 team as well. So to be able to advance to the finals as it stands, I won't try and jinx them, but they've performed very impressively and looking at a potential final berth. And who knows what can happen, in that final 5-team shootout there. They put themselves in a position, and if things go well, they could even win the whole thing. It's been a real underdog story for them, and they're looking very strong to try and move through and potentially challenge the top teams in the tournament in the finals next week.
Yeah, the teams we're gonna see in the finals are really spread out, because it's not only the top tier which is actually represented. Because in the qualifying phase we had, of course, 4 teams in the highest pool, but Germany too didn't even make it to the semi-finals. So yeah, anything can really happen. So 2 teams from Netherlands weren't also in pool 1, so they can still win it without being the expected winner in advance.
Only 2 of the Pool 1 teams have made it to the finals, I think.
Yeah, England did it. I think it's 3. England won, Germany and Lithuania. So
I'm pretty sure Germany were 4th in the group, weren't they?
I'm not sure even, actually. Probably then only 2 made it, yeah.
Because I think France may have actually squeaked through in 3rd place. Look at the provisional results there in front of me. So yeah, it's very close amongst. Yeah. So
it's really close also in that group. Like, Germany is not that far off on the provisional results.
Yeah.
So Sturning can of course still create some chaos in that. But yeah, indeed, then it's only half of the pool 1 guys which are actually in the final. So it's not what you expect in advance, really.
Yeah,
it's certainly something cool to see that, like, the fighting on track can still gain you a lot of points and get you to that final.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you got 2 Netherlands teams advancing. They've really punched above their weight, and they're looking head imperious form. And of course, the challenge, the top teams in the tournament come the final. Tune in next week to see how that all unfolds. We're in the dying laps of this race. It's beginning to settle down out there on track, as Lewis has a 21.5 second lead over CRG Blizzard, one of the fastest drivers out there, as Skivan breezes past Lordy in the straight, gets 13th place, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. So yeah, just talking about that final, England definitely go in as the favourites, no doubt, but I think Lithuania in particular, they have the firepower, if they have a clean run, to potentially trouble the fastest team in qualifying, highest scoring team in the semi-finals. It will be by some distance. So they're the favourites on paper, but anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and especially in a team event like this, certainly unpredictable. So yeah, it looks like England, they do go in as the favourites, but there's 4 other teams out there that all have the capacity to try and get in the way of that. So let's see how it all unfolds in a week's time.
Yeah, and also adding to that, of course, right now England is driving with only 3 guys. Imagine that next week they are only driving with 2 or 3 guys, and the opponents are better again, of course, as well, and they show up at 4, then they can also get last in the group still. And it's only 1 race day with 2 races, so it's a double stream actually.
Yeah.
So anything can happen, really. You need to be there with the 4 best drivers of your country, and then you can win it.
Of course, to win quite a high quality event with a lot of the best league racers in the world, you need all the circumstances to favour you, and you need all your drivers to show up on the day. You can't win with a 3-man team. It's as simple as that. So yeah, it's gonna be one to look forward to, and one to look forward to as well is this final battle actually between Gary and McCrew, because McCrew is virtually pushing him through turn 8, looking to find a way past the Renault, but ultimately unsuccessful. I think he may have more penalties as well than Gary. I know Gary has 3 seconds. McCrew has either 3 seconds or 6 seconds. I'm not entirely sure on that one. As again, cars stacking up behind Halpamut. There's his teammate Flip Flop Fish that's heading him up there, trying to defend from Skivan in that battle over 12th place then. And Skivan is to the inside there, and a late lunge from Flip Flop Fish on his teammate force him out wide. And Skivan now looking round the outside once again in turn 9, comes together with Alphamotic though, and he's going to drop back. So that move ultimately unsuccessful. But yeah, It looks like our teams are going to be decided from this group, barring any major dramas. As Sam is sitting on the back of Blizzard, he merely has to keep it clean, and he'll have second place, which is a very good achievement for the Dutchman. So it looks like Netherlands are going to go through from this group, as McCrew and Gary will keep an eye on this one all the way to the flag. It's actually McCrew! No, I tell you, McCrew's in the wall, he's out! Oh wow! Now I don't think that is going to change the standings, but McCrew round at the final corner, dropping it and throwing away quite a few points. Now, Netherlands still have 3 cars inside the top 10, so I wouldn't say that Ireland are on for outscoring them. But yeah, that is going to be a lot of points lost for them, but I don't think it's a huge concern for the Netherlands. I think they'll still be good to move through into the finals next week.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that McCrew was really battling Gary because they both had 2 penalties, so we had to push to really make it work.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so really trying to get out, but he didn't have to necessarily challenging them. They looked like they were already on the way through. Anyway, Lewis Welsh has just started the final lap of this race, and tell you what, he could be the main factor for England. This guy's ability to just cruise away with races against such high quality competition is just astounding. Like the guy, he's beating CRG Blizzard, who on F1 2018 was considered arguably the best driver on the platform. He's just pulled away by 25 seconds in this Singapore Grand Prix. It's just stunning, and you know, if he's on form next week, then well, all the other teams, they're gonna have one thing to watch out for then, because tell you, it's such a it's so hard to beat this guy, just him, and then you got 3 other, I presume, quick drivers for England all stepping up. And you know, England, you have to say that going into next week, they are hands down the favourites to take home the title, but of course it's still to play for.
Yeah, but still, Sam also showing that you can battle these guys, because of course Louis is insanely fast, but you need to have all 4 up there, and
yeah,
of course Blizzard was a bit held up, but Sam also crashed almost. So also a team like the Netherlands still has a good chance to probably win the event.
Oh, that's a feisty battle here, but that Alpamatic, who's had such a tough final stint, having to fend off cars and losing out to cars. It's Lordy now. These run 12th and 13th. He's to the inside of turn 3 on the brakes as Lewis has just come over the line, almost a lap ahead. He's going to win this race by nearly 27 seconds. Absolutely dominant stuff. And Blizzard and Seb will come over the line together, but of course on penalties Seb will quite easily jump in front of CRG Blizzard. And they've just got a few more corners to negotiate there. And of course they may be experiencing frame drops due to the fireworks. But anyway, Blizzard is round the final corner. It's P2 for him, and Sem predictably jumps in front on the penalties to get P2 for the Netherlands. Oysen is driving a very strong race, it must be said. In 4th place, I'm not sure. We'll see the penalties shape up because Joe Breezy is chasing down Oysen over the line 4th. Joe Breezy round the final corner to come through 5th, and he actually had more penalties, so it looks like that'll be how it all stands. I think Bjorn may only have 3 seconds, so we'll see. This battle between Gary and Bjorn may be quite close. Gary's over the line, Bjorn round the final corner, and it is only a 10th of a second that separates them at the line. But Gary does get 6th. Dan will come through in P8, Bugatti P9, Skivan P10 in the end, as we're just waiting for the last of the cars to come over the line. For what has been a pretty...
He does have a lot of penalties, and also Flip-Flop Fish has a lot, so probably Lordy and Alt on the K can still jump them.
We'll keep an eye out there. Skivan, not the race that he was hoping for. He is through 10th place. Flip-Flop Fish runs very wide through the final corner, actually gives it up to Lordy right at the death. And over the line is Alpu to round it off then. That is Singapore. A very action-packed, a very incident-packed race, as you probably would have expected. And that will round off your semi-final. And barring any major stewarding controversies, it will be England qualifying as your top team and Netherlands through to the final as your second team. Will tidy up the stewarding and get the final classifications through to you. But it does look like, as it stands, your team's advancing to the final from Pool A, B. You're gonna have You're going to have Lithuania, France, Netherlands, and then over here you have the second Netherlands team as well as England. They look like they're all going to advance, and they'll face off in a week's time in the final. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
So
you can just see the dominance of Louis, literally 25 seconds in front and also having a penalty. Of course, he wasn't hold up, but really, really in front, just dominating everyone. And it's also a pity that only 13 guys finished, of course, because 15th and 14th would also have gotten points, but they didn't finish, unfortunately.
yeah, of course. So they're not going to be able to score. We only have 13 scores, but yeah, I think we won't spend too long glossing over it. I think we've said enough here for this Singapore Grand Prix. I'll say thanks for jumping in with me, Tim. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed commentating with you, mate. So yeah, it's been great fun.
Yeah, it was nice, nice doing co-coms this time. So yeah, seriously looking forward for the final, of course, which is next week. So yeah, we'll see who's commentating then, of course.
We'll yeah, we won't keep you waiting
We'll
too
fight
long on that.
over that. For me, it won't be me.
Anyway, yep, thanks to everyone for tuning in there for the semi-finals. It is over and just the finals left to come. Hope you've all enjoyed watching this then. And yep, to round everything off then, I'm Adaka. He's been Game Boys. And until next time, we'll see you later.